Want to see another really weird pickup? Check this out. This is a 1940s wrap steel pickup. This kind of pickup, the strings actually go through the coil. There are no pole pieces because the strings themselves are the pole pieces. How freaky is that? This one's dead, so I'm going to take it all the way apart and rewind it and put it back together and send it back where it came from.
Okay, so let's get a little bit closer look here. These are the holes that the strings actually go through. The whole pickup is held together with these two screws, a couple of nuts and washers. The top piece here is part of your magnet structure. Those two pieces on the end are your actual Alnico magnets. And the coil sits sideways in the middle. This is one of the magnets. There's only two of them in it. They're huge, and as you can see, they've got a pretty heavy pull. I always like to mark these when I take them out so I know which way they go back in. Look at how completely uneven this wind is. This is a terrible wind, and it's very typical for a lot of early vintage pickups. It really reminds me of a lot of old Fender work. They were terribly unbalanced. So the next thing to do is cut all this original wire off. I'll be rewinding with the same kind of wire. But when I got all that cut off, I started to notice that the bobbin itself was starting to come apart. So that's going to need to be addressed. It's the middle pieces are plastic and the ends are 4-bond, kind of like a Stratocaster pickup. My little bit of handling here, it just fell apart. So I put it back together by using crazy glue, and this technique here is called a fillet. It's also used on things like Stratocaster pickups where the magnets meet the 4-bond to keep the wire from tucking in between the magnet and the 4-bond. This is a good way to seal these ends from anything getting in there. This is my wire vault. I don't think I've ever shown this in a video. I've got tons and tons of different kinds of wire. We're going to go with the vintage style plain enamel. And for the wind, I just kind of had to hit and miss on this one. I'd never wound one of these before, so what I did was I set my winder to 1,000 turn intervals and kept going till I thought I had it right. Put the original leads back on and try to stay original. It's a fairly low output pickup, but that's what it was to start with. I'm trying to stay vintage. This is some Fender style tape that I used to insulate the eyelets because I thought it was a little tougher than the masking tape they originally used. And then it just goes back together same way it came apart. You see my wind is a whole lot more uniform than the original wind. There's the marks that I used to put the magnets back on the same way it came apart. Kind of looks like a harmonica, yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed watching me tear this thing down and put it back together. It's now heading back home to Maine, where it comes from, and it's going to go right back in the lap steel that it came out of, and I'm looking forward to hearing back from the owner and seeing if he likes the results. See ya.